Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala ali Muhammadin kama sallaita ala Ibrahim wa ala ali Ibrahim innaka Hamidum Mujeeb. Allahumma barik ala Muhammadin wa ala ali Muhammadin kama barakta ala Ibrahim wa ala ali Ibrahim innaka Hamidum Mujeeb. The offering of Salat, Imam Sahib is saying, has a fundamental importance in Islam, and the details of this are found in the Holy Quran and also in the Hadith of the Holy Prophet ﷺ. And with great detail we have been given the guidance as to how to perform our Salat properly. There is a vast section of Hadith which are to do with the various manners, the various things to do with offering of the Salat properly. Imam Sahib is saying that he'll try to present some of these points today, but it's impossible to present everything, and it may be that we will continue with this series in the future. In the first tradition Imam Sahib wants to present today, Hazrat Ali Radhiyallahu Anhu says that the Holy Prophet ﷺ said that the essence of Salat is purity. So this is the actual aim of Salat is purification. So if the ways and means of purification are not properly done before the Salat and during the Salat, then our Salat is not completed properly. Of course, this in the first place it refers to the ablution, which has been mentioned before, and the aim of ablution is that one becomes clean in body, in mind and in spirit completely. If there is any lethargy or laziness one feels, that is removed, and one's body and one's clothes should be clean, and one's mental one's state of mind should be pure as well. And the Holy Prophet ﷺ said that the essence of Salat is purity and cleanliness, and this should always be remembered, and this should be taken care of from in every one of its aspects. And then the Holy Prophet ﷺ said that the tahreem of Salat is takbir and the tahleel is taslim. These words require explanation. So the tahreem is takbir means that when Allahu Akbar is said, then one should not do anything other than Salat. So just before we start the obligatory prayers when people go to the mosque, and the takbir is recited, which is called takbir and also takbirul iqama or iqamat as well. So when that takbir is done, which is similar to the azan, then after that, when Allahu Akbar is said, then there is nothing else one is allowed to do except for Salat. So one completely uniquely one abandons everything else and just has a unique focus towards Salat at that time. And then the other thing the Holy Prophet ﷺ said, that the tahleel is taslim. Taslim means when you say Assalamu alaikum and you turn to the right and say salam, and then to the left and say salam. So this is called taslim. So when the Holy Prophet ﷺ said that the tahleel is taslim, that means that when the taslim is done, that is when Assalamu alaikum is said at the end of Salat, then all the things we are not allowed to do during Salat, one can do them. For example, looking here and there, or when we need to say something to someone, and similarly other things that we are supposed to do in life, which we normally do in our lives, that we stopped while we were praying, we can restart them after we say salam. So the real soul and the purity of Salat has been explained here. Imam Sahib is saying that he wishes to repeat this, that the essence of Salat is purity, and the tahreem is takbir, Once Allahu Akbar is being said and namaz begins, and then after that one should not do anything else, and one should not say anything else either. In fact, one should just join in with the salat, and until the namaz continues, until salat continues, there should be no unnecessary action or any talk is not permitted. But once you do salam on both sides, and then after that, whatever was you were stopped from doing before, you are allowed to do. Imam Sahib is saying that if someone joins in their salat late in the mosque and they still have to complete their salat, then until the Imam says salam on both sides, then he cannot begin saying his own salat when he wants to, which the portion of his salat that he needs to complete, he cannot complete it, cannot begin to complete it until the Imam finishes completely. So this is a very comprehensive prayer which Imam Sahib is saying that he has explained in the first instance. And then there is another tradition which has been reported by Hadith Aisha Anha, when she where she guided us with respect to the salat of the Holy Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. The Aisha Anha was granted the honor of seeing the Holy Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam from close quarters, because she was his wife. She saw his actions with respect to salat properly, and it is a great favor of hers on the ummah of the Holy Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam that she mentioned these things to the Muslims, and therefore recorded them forever for us to take guidance from. So let us see how the Holy Prophet ﷺ used to offer his salat from this tradition. Remember that the main parts of the salat here are only mentioned here in this tradition. She says that the Holy Prophet ﷺ would begin his salat with takbir, just as it's been mentioned just now, wal qiraat bil hamdi lillahi rabbil alameen. And after that, Ashlan has said that he used to recite Surah Fatiha. So reciting of Surah Fatiha is obligatory during salat. So this is done afterwards, after doing the takbir. And then it is mentioned by his Aisha Anha that when the Holy Prophet ﷺ would bow, he would not raise up his head until he would keep his head up. He would keep his head parallel to the ground, his body parallel to the ground. So he would not raise his head too much, nor would he bow his head too much. And one should not look at the place of prostration, which normally when we are offering salat, we are told to keep our eyes on the spot of prostration. We should not look to the left or to the right. We should also not look ahead of where the spot of prostration is. So one should only one keeps one's eyes on that spot. But when one goes into the bowing position, then one does not look at the spot of prostration. And so he would not raise his head too much, and neither would he bow his head down too much. And this can lead one's attention to be diverted to other things. So this is wrong. The Holy Prophet ﷺ would keep his head in the middle of these two positions. So again, Imam Sahib is saying he wishes to explain that he would neither keep his head too high, nor would he make it go too low. Because going too low is also not allowed. He would keep his back parallel to the ground, and when he would raise his head from the position of bowing, he would not he would not go into the state of prostration until he had stood up properly. So this is very important, and it's very we should understand it well, that every different part of the salat should be offered separately, and we should feel it and we should complete it. So here he has given the example, then when after the ruku he would raise his head until he would stand up straight, completely straight. He would not go down into the state of prostration. We should not go into the state of bowing and be so quick that one almost doesn't stand up properly and just go straight into the prostration. This is wrong, and this has been explained to us very clearly by the mother of the believers, Hazrat Aisha Zanha. So until he would stand completely and he do the prayers that are offered at that position. After that, he would go into the state of prostration, and then Hazrat Aisha Zanha says that then the Holy Prophet ﷺ would raise his head from prostration. He would not go into the second prostration until he had stayed in that position for a while. So, and this is an extremely important, another extremely important thing to keep in mind. So when one sits in between the two prostrations, one must offer this prayer, which is extremely important and comprehensive, and that should be offered properly and completely. If we are in a hurry that from one prostration to the other prostration, and we ignore that prayer, then this is a great loss. So we should remember that prayer, and we must offer it at that time. So there should be a distinction between the two prostrations. We should do one prostration, get up, sit down, read the prayer, and then go into the next prostration. And then after every 2 rakats, the Holy Prophet ﷺ would sit down and do At-Tahiyyatu, and the prayer there is At-Tahiyyatu Lillahi. So he would sit in the position of Tahiyya, and the prayers that used to be performed at that time, he would do it after every 2 rakats. So sometimes if there are 3 rakats in total, then you sit after 2 and then stand up after 1. And if there are 4 rakats, then you do 2 rakats and then do At-Tahiyyatu and then stand up and do the rest of the other 2. And then the Holy Prophet ﷺ would lay his left foot on the ground, and he would sit on top of that, and he would make like a floor out of it, or a place for himself to sit on, like a cushion. So he would bend his left foot, that would give support to his body, and then with the right foot he would make it stand. So the body's weight would be on the left foot, and the right foot would be there to support it. And if you experiment, then this way of sitting makes one sit properly and conveniently, and one the burden of his body, the weight of his body is can be comfortably supported by the feet. And the Holy Prophet ﷺ would very strongly admonish people to sit on their heels, so to bend the toes and to make the heels be up straight, and then to sitting on that stage was extremely strongly admonished by the Holy Prophet ﷺ. And he said that this is this was disliked by him. This he said was the manner of sitting of Satan, so one should not do that. And then while in the state of prostration, what should be remembered is that the Holy Prophet ﷺ did not like people to sit on the ground, to lay their arms on the ground in such a way that a dog sits. And this is the Holy Prophet ﷺ has made it so clear, and Aisha Zana has explained this so clearly. Sometimes it happens one feels like putting one's entire arm on the floor up to the elbows so that he can sit there comfortably, and this is done conveniently. But this manner of sitting is iftirash al-qalbi, the Holy Prophet ﷺ said, that is the style of the manner of a dog. What we should do is that one's hands should be on the ground on either side of one's head, but the elbows should be raised high, and neither should the elbows be touching the body, and neither should they be touching the thighs. You should not support your elbows with anything. So this tells you that you shouldn't take a support, give oneself a support which makes one sleepy. Then is not to be adopted. And then at the end, when the salat is finished, then the Holy Prophet ﷺ would end the salat with taslim. That is, he used to say Assalamu alaikum on the right side and then on the left side. So this is a very comprehensive tradition in which we are given the clearly explains the correct manner of salat as offered by the Holy Prophet ﷺ. And in another tradition, there was a group who had come to see the Holy Prophet ﷺ, and when they were leaving, the Holy Prophet ﷺ told them one sentence which today and tomorrow for the whole which is a guidance for us forever. He said, the sentence was, you should do your salat in the manner that you see me doing my salat. So this was his advice to people, and it was his farewell advice to them, that remember my manner of a salat and offer your salat the way I offer my salat. May Allah enable us to offer our salat in this manner. Ameen summa ameen. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.